It is written that a giant serpent dragon called Wainaba ruled over Ethiopia for 400 years. Then a man by the name of Angabo resolved to kill the dragon. But then he said, "You must make me your ruler," and the people all agreed. The dragon, however, set out for Axum. But when he saw fire to the left and right of him, he writhed into it and died. Angabo, the dragon slayer, ruled for 200 years. He is regarded as the father of the Queen of the South. The Kebra Negasht, the Book of the Glory of Kings, is a 14th century manuscript which is both a national epos and the key source of Ethiopian national identity. It states that the Ethiopian royal dynasty is descended from Solomon and from the Queen of the South, the Queen of Sheba. The grave of the dragon can be visited, like many sites which popular belief attributes to certain figures in the national epos, like, for example, the bath of the Queen of Sheba. This explains the fascination which Axum still has for Ethiopians even today. But even visitors from far-off places are also captivated by the mysticism of the ancient sites. Roughly translated, the name Axum means Fountain of the Princes. Unlike today, at one time it must have been a green and fertile place, with water in abundance. The oldest hieroglyphic drawings depicting incense, myrrh, ivory and slaves date back 4,700 years. It was probably immigrants from southern Arabia who founded a highly developed civilization here at the crossroads of important trade routes between Africa, India and the Mediterranean. Shortly after the birth of Christ, Axum was described in a Greek handbook for seafarers as a splendid city with a large population. Like the clay cities of Yemen, the decorated buildings must have been several stories high. Perhaps the monoliths are a stylized copy of this early high-rise architecture. Hardly anything remains of the palaces and residences of this ancient metropolis. Modern-day Axum is a town with architecture so anonymous it could be anywhere in the world. On the outskirts of town, the main road to Gondar passes Dongur Mansion. Once again, legend lends these ruins particular significance. It is said that the Queen of Sheba climbed these steps to enter her palace. Archaeological dating, however, places the ruins more in the late Axumitic epoch. Clay figures and wine goblets also date back to the 6th century. The kitchen had a brick oven. The central hall had underfloor heating for added comfort. And this wasn't the only palace. The German expedition to Axum in 1906 found numerous traces of splendid estates and residential buildings. When Angabo died, the people made his daughter Makeda their queen. She heard of the wisdom of Solomon. And he, in turn, knew of her incomparable beauty. So Solomon invited her to visit him in Jerusalem, where a banquet was held in her honor. But when the Ethiopian legation sought to retire for the night, there were no quarters befitting the queen's status. So the king asked her to join him in his chambers. After returning home, Makeda gave birth to a son, Menelik Ebna Hokim, son of the wise. Located deep in the mountains north of Axum, the palace of Yeha is nearly 1,000 years older than Dongur. Did Makeda live here with little Menelik, as legend has it? The masonry consists of blocks up to 3 meters long, seamlessly joined together without the use of mortar. The cubic method of construction and the ibex ornamentation indicate Arab influences. Probably built as a temple, the building late became a church. Isolated here in the mountains, the huge edifice was able to survive down the ages. Back to the center of Axum. Thousands of years old, this market square was once a major trading center for luxury goods from Africa. Its original vitality and diversity are still very much in evidence even today. Ivory and gold, even slaves perhaps, have not been traded here for many years. But you can still find incense and myrrh, as well as magic roots and everything a healer needs. The colorful parasols and splendid clothes on sale indicate that the festival of Mariam Zion is about to take place. The carpenters with their axes will not be able to withstand the competition from machinery for much longer. There's still a demand for the skills of the blacksmiths. What master craftsmen must have been present in this square 2,000 years ago, when the materials worked were not only brittle iron, but also ivory and gold. Architects in those days handled clay and stone with considerably more artistry than their modern-day colleagues use concrete. The greatest puzzle in Axum are the huge obelisks. Up to 30 meters high, each is carved from a single giant block of granite. No stonemason today would even dare attempt such a work. But the requisite expertise, not to mention courage, must have existed in ancient Ethiopia. And it survived there into the first millennium AD, as proved by the monolithic churches of Lalibela. But whereas the churches were simply cut out of the rock and remained there, the gigantic obelisks first had to be transported to the place where they were erected. The quarry is located 15 kilometers away in the mountains. Blanks still lie there today, giant and unfinished. Various theories exist as to how the monoliths, which weigh up to 500 tons, were transported to Axum on the horizon. They range from supernatural forces to gigantic ramps and elephants as beasts of burden. Erection of the monoliths ended at least once in failure. It's unlikely that the biggest obelisk at Axum ever towered up into the sky. the obelisk's crowned graves. This is also indicated by recent finds, which came to light through foundation work carried out for the second biggest obelisk, recently returned by the Italian government. The carved doors are mere ornamentation. But the door at another location nearby, the mausoleum of Caleb and Gebra Maskal, leads down into the underworld. Or was this perhaps a treasure house? During the days of King Solomon, Ibn Hakim, who was called Menelik, brought the Ark of the Covenant to Axum. He left Jerusalem with it under cover of darkness. The Ark remained on the outskirts for 40 years without actually entering the town. Then, during the Azbeha era, a shrine was built in the center of Axum, and the Ark has been kept there ever since. Thousands attend the Mariam Zion festival to see the patriarch. In the 4th century, during the reign of King Ezana, Ethiopia became one of the first countries to make Christianity the state religion. Devout Ethiopians are convinced that this building houses the Ark of the Covenant stolen by Menelik. The sacred precinct also contains the crowns of Ethiopia's emperors, who always saw themselves as guardians of the faith. Long after the capital was moved to Addis Ababa 1,000 kilometers away, Ethiopia's emperors still came to Axum to be crowned. They sat on stone thrones here, to be anointed by the Abuna, the head of the church. Only the base slabs of the thrones still exist. Axum has remained a historical and religious focal point for people in Ethiopia. No other place leaves more questions unanswered or conceals more secrets. Yet nowhere do the faithful feel closer to God than here. This place also focuses the national consciousness of the Ethiopians, which begins with their descent from Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. A nation to whom mighty empires belonged, with Axum at their center, and whose rulers, even later, wanted to be crowned nowhere else but here. The Mariam Zion festival ends with a traditional feast. Even in a part of the world where need normally prevails, on this day the people celebrate. And so, for a few hours at least, some of the splendor and the abundance of ancient Axum returns.